Okay. Now, this wasn't on the list. I'd mentioned before, but I'll mention it again that I did send those questions ahead of time so that everybody had a chance to kind of think about the answers to make sure that the information is out there. One thing that perhaps wasn't necessarily on this, but it's related, I think, is like the surface parking that we have downtown to be able
Hmm.
to, like, what can we do with that? What are your ideas?
Oh, honestly, I wish,
Start the timer. Here we go.
yeah. How
I'm
much time
taking
do we have?
notes.
Honestly, the council voted against a motion that another councillor and I brought forward to eliminate surface parking. Those days are gone. I'm not going to go back in time. That was
Hmm.
over a year ago.
Sorry
Let's
to
just
interrupt you
move.
just for a second,
Yeah.
though, but just as an aside,
Yep.
looking at some drone footage, like from the riverside, looking that way, it
Yep.
almost looks like downtown's all parking lot. Like
Yeah. It is.
it's great. Yeah.
It's. Let's be honest with it. It goes
Mm.
from Downing Street all the way down to almost Heritage Court,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
On the south side of Main Street.
Hmm.
So the initiative here would be for council and the mayor to lead on developing those parking spaces. Whether or not it be at the time we had floated a motion to buy the parking spaces and encourage development on them because developers aren't that own those properties aren't investing in those properties.
Hmm.
So the only way is to actually have control of that property to force development on it.
Right. No, okay, very good. Sorry, but I didn't mean to throw you off of that,
No, no, that's okay.
but that was good. So how about yeah, well, going back to the water just briefly, I
Mm.
guess you sort of already answered it. I'm just kind of worried
Yeah.
about, or people are worried about with continuing warmer weather and with less snowfall that we have, is there a concern for the water supply and or the because if it does go down, then of course it gets warmer and there's the higher chance of blue green algae, et cetera, et cetera. So
So just so I'm clear, are you complaining that we didn't get enough snow?
I've rediscovered downhill skiing. So yes, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, we didn't get enough.
Okay, we've known each other for a while, so sorry. I like to have fun at this. I don't. I'm not in court. Okay.
Oh, okay. Were you in court? It's why were
Quite
you in
honestly,
court?
quite honestly, to answer your question, the only way that we can, and if we're talking about protecting it from drought, which is what you're talking about, the only way is to rely on our city staff and our engineers who can forecast this out to the best of their knowledge. Based on what we're experiencing in the environment. At the end of the day, city staff are telling me countless times, counselor, don't worry about it. We can expand on our current reservoir. We can put up extra dams. We can back even up the water an extra 4 meters if we have to satisfy and to fill our demand. So I think we have to rely on our city staff and
Hmm.
work with them because quite honestly, Eric, they haven't been involved at the public level. And I want to bring this to the public level.
Okay. So I'm sure there must be a mathematical equation, how many liters per person they're going to use, how much water they have, et cetera, as to where the kind of point would be where we need to expand or do something more.
Yeah, I think tonight the Montreal Canadiens are playing the Tampa Bay. You'll know. Transaquil will know when the first period intermission is and the second period intermission is. So there is a way to track this. Yes.
Okay, well, oof.
Sorry.
As long as you don't go by feel. Okay, very good. All right, here we go. This is an interesting one. It said Moncton has already allocated money for planning a new pool, which I'm assuming is going to be in the North End. Many residents are concerned that the facility is already going to be too small to account for the swim club, schools, community programming, etc. So if you were elected as mayor, would you commit to ensuring that the design is sufficient, has sufficient capacity for the next, well, the person was asking for the next 30 years?
I think we got to look at the next 10 years based on our growth because our growth is going to peter out here over the next probably year to year and a half just because of what's going on with the federal government.
Sure.
But quite honestly, there's no question the North End needs a pool. I'm all behind that. I support that initiative. The question is, who's the experts? What's the data show that's needed? And how do we get there? And who do we get to run it? I believe that's another question that you had. And
Mm.
by the looks of it, you may have some free time to run that pool. So
Oh, yeah.
maybe we can, count on you to run it. But at the end of the day, we need to understand we can't do this as a city on our own. I know that I take great pride in the East End pool and what it's done for that area and those kids in that area.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, we need to figure out Who's our partner in this?
Okay, the next question came from someone who wanted to know about the new pool. I'm assuming it's the new pool in the North End, and they're saying that many residents are concerned that the facility is really kind of not built to handle the swim clubs, the community events, and everything else that they want to have there. And so they're asking if you would commit to being to make sure that the pool was of sufficient size and capacity for the next, well, they're saying for the next 30 years.
Yeah, I'm fully behind a pool in the North End. There's no question about it. I think we need to look at the next 10-year schedule, really, because in the next year and a half or so, we're going to see a slowdown due to the federal government and their rules and regulation on immigration. So at the end of the day, quite honestly, there's no question we need a pool up there. The question will become what's coming out of the expert consultations. We did consultations throughout the community. We have a report on that, as council does. We've allocated, as you said, additional money to the budget. But I think we need to look at our options on this and maybe, just maybe, our partnerships as well. Because I did bring up Southeast Regional Service Commission at your first question. We need to look at some way to get them maybe involved in cost sharing this as well. Because this isn't only going to be a pool for Moncton residents to come in and, tap their ID. Okay, you're Moncton, you're allowed in. This is going to be people coming from Riverview, from Dieppe, from the outlying areas. Maybe there's a cost sharing project there that we can do and come to terms with what's really needed in that building.
Okay, very good. Next, we're going to go over to governing and
Sure.
just a few questions on that. And actually, this is more of a reflective look. Now, you've been, as you said, a ward councillor for 14 years. What are some of the things in particular that you're perhaps most proud of? Doesn't have to be big, but you feel really good about that you accomplished in your time?
Well, I can tell you the one thing that is close and dear to my heart is the East End pool and the struggles that I had, not only within City Hall, but within elected officials at the time, who voted against such project. That is very important to me. What it has done for the youth in that area and for the families across the city of Moncton. I'm really, really proud of that project. There are other projects that I'm not going to get into great depth with because we will later on in your questions. But being on the Boys and Girls Club board, and being a member of that to see what our youth are going through today. And I know that's going to come up later.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you, if anybody questions it or anybody even wants to know about it, they got to go there. They've got to see what our youth are going through today and the struggles that they have every day and see that neighborhood around the Boys and Girls Club. To me, I've got many, but I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I have to say, hats off to you because I know how hard you had to fight for that. And man, oh man, there's every square inch is used of that pool. So that's, there's.
It's used so much that we see anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 people using that pool that it's come to the point where we now actually have to replace the decking because it's been so well used.
Already. Wow.
And it's a zero entrance pool. Remember that. So kids that are handicapped or challenged can get into that pool just as easily.
Nice. Okay. And sort of down the road, was there anything that you plan to do after you're mayor? Should you be mayor?
So are you asking me if I'm going to apply for a Senate seat while I'm currently mayor with 2 years left in my mandate?
Well, that's up to you.
Or are you going to ask me that in 2 years when the federal government is looking for possibly a new MP for Moncton Dieppe or Moncton Dieppe, that I remove myself as mayor, go back for my 1 year so that I can get my pension as a member of parliament, and then leave the city of Moncton again without a mayor for 2 years? I can tell you straight up right now, provided how successful I am in my first 4 years, I would reoffer for another 4.
Okay. Very good.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you were going with that, but okay.
Well, I need that to get out there.
That's a good point. Okay, so in terms of your leadership style,
Mhm.
Certainly in the past, there's been some, I don't know if animosity is the right word, but there's been kind of conflict. The very divided council, a lot of people
Yes.
would refer to it as. This is sort of a new start. There's a whole slew of new people who are offering, and there are a lot of signs out there for a lot of people. What would your style be in terms of governing? Like if you had people on council who were perhaps had a very different point of view as to what you wanted to do, how do you see managing a council of a real variety of people?
You're right. There are a number of new candidates coming forward. Um, I'm open to all views. My only concern becomes all candidates that are running, and I hope they hear this. When you are out there and you're talking to residents, residents are hearing what you're telling them, and you're telling them what they want to hear. You're telling them that you're concerned about their problems and their concerns. When you get to the council level, you need to put your personal agendas aside, and you need to understand that you were voted by the citizens of Moncton. You were not voted on your personal agenda because you did not bring that personal agenda to the forefront.
Hmm.
And we need to work together, united, versus what we've been since 2016, a divided council. And the only way to do that is to make sure that everybody in the room understands you leave your stripes at the door and you're there to represent the citizens of Moncton, not your personal agenda or somebody else's personal agenda.